Hej och välkomna till dagens webbinar där AEC tillsammans med AGACAD kommer att presentera trähuskonstruktion för BIM-processen där vi kan använda Revit genom hela flödet från design till produktion. Jag som presenterar heter Maria Runesson och de andra två delarna kommer Renata och Valensas från AGACAD att presentera. AEC och AGACAD jobbar nu tillsammans med att utveckla lösningar för ett effektiviserande byggsystem så att vi kan komma längre med Revit mot produktion. Både AEC och AGACAD har ju lång erfarenhet av Autodesk-produkter och även att utveckla BIM-lösningar för byggindustrin. Det som vi kommer att prata om idag är ordframing och där har vi då en möjlighet att från design använda Revit hela vägen fram till konstruktion och produktion. Vi kan effektivt få till flera skikt i väggarna, skivor, reglar, paneler, skapa automatiska ritningar. Vi kommer att kunna bland annat få ut CNC-fakta och mycket mer. Vi använder Revit-modellen och vi har möjlighet att anpassa den till vårt egna byggsystem per företag. Vi har fått kontroll över alla ingående byggnadsdelar. Vi kan enkelt skapa ritningar och mängdavtagningar, kapnotor, allt vad vi behöver för att sedan gå vidare till produktion och exportera till CNC-maskiner. Det gör att vi kan använda ett och samma program genom hela processen. Ordframing-sviten innehåller wall plus, floor plus, truss och rafter. Så att vi kan gå in och kika på och jobba med alla delarna av huset. Även på wall plus-sidan så har vi både för kanske mer traditionellt svenskt byggande med reglar, skivor och fasadmaterial, men de har även en funktion för timmerväggar. Och just att vi kan använda Revit-modellens alla lager för att skapa de olika skikten i våra väggar. Likaså för floor plus, då kan vi göra motsvarande fast för bjälklagen. Vi använder Revits bjälklag och skapar bjälkar, kottlingar, golv och även håltagning så att vi kan få ut allting sen på ritningar, både då vyer och kaplister utifrån varje element som vi skapar i de här applikationerna. Trusses, då har vi möjlighet att skapa takstolar utifrån konturen i Revit-modellen. Skapa unika takstolar för vårt projekt och sen skapa ritningar och kaplister för detta. På Rafter-systemet så kommer vi att få se hur vi kan göra det med hjälp av åsar istället och kort och bärläkt. De här olika systemen kommer Renata och Valensa att presentera på engelska. Alla frågor mottages efter att de har presenterat färdigt. Jag skulle vilja göra en litet test innan Renata börjar med sin del. Om ni kan klicka på räcka upp handen i GoToWebinar-dialogen för att se så att alla hör. Så var vänliga och klicka upp era händer. Den finns ju i dialogboxen ifall ni inte har hittat dem tidigare. Så finns det i dialogboxen under Attendis så har man, eller man har sin lilla knapp med en liten hand på som man ska klicka på. Det är några som inte har räckt upp handen här. Är det så att, nu tror jag det har. Nu ser det bra ut. Då lämnar jag över med varm hand till Renata. Renata, it's your turn.
Okay, thank you, Maria. I'm going to switch the screen to my screen. Yes, I hope you can see it, right? Okay, so I'm going to start with the wall plus. That's very powerful for making wall frames, at the same time for making shop drawings in few clicks. And now I'm going to switch to my Revit project. This is already framed project. Here we used the product with the name Wall Plus for framing walls, then Floor Plus for framing floors, and then Rafters. Roof is also framed using Rafter Plus. Now I would like just to show how it's from the beginning, but in general this is our target, what we should get. And today I will try to explain how to frame such house. And at the same time, if we talk about the Wall Plus, here we will be able to create automatically shop drawings for every individual wall panel. So we will make shop drawings automatically, the tool will add dimensions, the tool will make schedules automatically of material takeoff and the part list, and we will put all those views into the sheet. So now I would like to start with a plain, with an empty project. And first I would like to say that Wall Plus you can find in the separate tools for Revit with framing tab. And in the first beginning I would like to show that this is a regular wall that comes from architects. It has the layers with the thicknesses and with materials, and we're saying that here we are going to put the main frame, then sheetings from the both sides, then the nailers, the layer for the nailers, and then the siding. So here this layer we are going to use for making sidings. So if you would like to frame the walls, you have to make a link between the wall type and the framing, and as you can see here we can predefine and we can set each individual framing layer for every wall layer, and at the same time we can predefine configuration, what kind of settings we would like to apply. In our case, let's frame the wall, so let's add main frames into those three selected walls. So in general, what you need to do, you just need to select walls from the project, press on frame wall, and the tool will frame those walls according to predefined configuration. Okay, so we're finishing with framing those wall panels. And now the tool has created the frames automatically with predefined distance, with connections, with some headers, with some top supports. And let's take a look where it comes from, where we can predefine such settings. So in the Wall Plus we have framing configuration, where you can predefine settings for all the frames. Actually all the settings are grouped together according to configuration type. You can predefine your own configuration separately for the buttons. It means horizontal nailers, then for the main frames, then for the horizontal sidings. If it's necessary, you can predefine settings for the secondary frame or for the vertical nailers or for the vertical sidings, and even you can predefine settings for the log houses. Okay, so let's take a look into the main frame, because here we have the biggest amount of different settings, and you can save your configuration under your own name. Actually, some default configurations will be automatically loaded into your project. And here you just need to predefine what families you're going to use for the main studs and for the plates. Then what will be the mark definitions. That's very important, because those descriptions and framing member values will be added later into your schedules and could be used in your tags. Then with the wall framing, you have to predefine the distances between the frames, what will be the top plate, what will be the bottom plate. Maybe we're going to have the cut, for example, or if it's necessary, we can have some additional offset from the base or from the bottom of the wall. Then we have options to predefine openings, opening framings. We can predefine different opening headers for different window sizes, for example, because here we have configurations separately for windows, doors, and for other openings. And you can choose that if your window, let's say, is from meter to 1.5 meter, you can predefine configuration with let's say with such a header or with any other header from the list. Okay, so in general, those features, they are very flexible for predefining different headers, sill plates, king studs. You can also add additional trimmers and predefine the scenario how the streamer should be created. Then for other studs, you can say that maybe the varying or Pratt diagonal cripple should be above the window, and maybe also some additional offsets. Then we have a lot of configurations for L connections. So we can predefine different types of L connections, like we call it like L or butt connection. So we can predefine inner and outer corners. Then free end corners. So let's say if the wall, it just ends and we have a cut between the walls, so you can just predefine again your own scenario for the ends. Then we have T connections, additional setting for adding the ridges. Then we have settings for predefining different bridgings, blockings, and noggings. Again, here we have really flexible rules for predefining additional bridgings and blockings. Then we can predefine a secondary bridging, blocking, and nogging. Then the bracings. Then we can add additionally studs and additional bridgings, blockings, and blockings to our specific place if it's necessary. Then we can predefine details automatically, like we saw in the frame in the beginning. There could be different angles added between the plates. Then we can automatically add the service holes between the families. And we can put details and service holes only on the studs separately. So all those settings you can predefine and you can save under your own name, and actually those settings could be shared with other users. And it's very similar to any other configuration. So if we talk about the vertical nailers, so again we have settings, but they're very common and they're very similar as it was for the main frame. Just here we have settings only for the vertical nailers. And if we have such name, then we can make a link like we did before. We have possibility to make a link between the wall type, which comes from the project, and configuration from the framing configuration tab. Okay, so let's frame more walls. I'm going to select more walls with more complex shapes. So let's frame more walls. So there will be 3 more walls framed, and here I just want to show one example with a triangle window. If we have such scenario and such window in the project, we can frame it very easily. And if our wall shape is complicated, and actually if it goes, if we have a cut according to the roof, again we can very easily frame it, and the frames will be automatically adjusted according to the wall shape. Now, if we would like to make any other changes in the project, let's say if we make any updates, for example, I will move a window a little bit, or we will make some changes with the wall, we can very easily just select any frame from the wall, and we just need to press on update frame. And now the tool remembers, all those families, all those frames which were added into the wall, and now the tool updated those frames. Well, some connections were duplicated, but it's not so big deal at the moment. Okay, after updating, we can very easily see an updated wall, and let's say if we'd like to make some custom settings and to change some custom things in the framed wall, we can go to the modify wall framing, and here if it's necessary we can change the distances between the frames, or we can say that we use alternating offsets between the noggings, and maybe such continuous nogging above the window we should delete at the moment, because here I'm going to use varying cripples, so I'm going to move out those supports which are above the window. In general, what I would like to say is that with the Wall Plus, you can very easily work with bridgings and noggings, because there are possibilities to place them through the whole frame, or through except openings, or only through the openings, like it was in our case. So you can have such scenario, or you can add support through all the wall in the project. Okay. And that's it, we have results. So here we have created alternative offsets between the noggings, and if we would like to modify our headers, again, if we would like to modify custom header, we can very easily go and change the header here, but in such case I'm going to add varying diagonal cripples above this window. And one more thing about connections, we can predefine, as you can see, those L connections and anchors. They are distributed automatically, but again it depends on your project. We can, so as you can see here, we have varying varying cripples above the window. And if we talk about connections, those connections, you can just make your own specific connections, because here with the Wall Plus we have possibility to distribute connections in different ways, and you can choose your own family for adding those connections, and you can predefine the rules how those connections should be distributed, or maybe not. Maybe in some cases you don't need to have them. Okay, now let's take a look into the plan view, and as you can see, the frames, they are created exactly in the layer where it should be. And once again, if we would like to modify the joints, for example, you can very easily predefine the setting which will be used for the custom joint. And again, I will go to the slide, and I just want to say that there could be complex connections and multi-layer framings in the walls, and if we talk about the headers and sills for windows and openings, then here again we can predefine our custom families for such headers and for such sills. And there are a lot of L and T corner types in the project. They are hard-coded, but if you will see that some of them should be added additionally, we can very easily include them. And the tool will recognize inner and outer corners, and actually it gives you flexibility in modeling and easily handling with the really complex situations. And again, if we have walls which are connected between themselves and it's just straight connector, we can very easily apply offsets and our own rules. Okay, so we can see the result. We have such a corner modified, and now let's add more layers. Well, if it's necessary, for example, to align the frames from separate two walls, we can very easily go to align stats with other element. We just need to select two stats from the wall, and the tool will align them automatically. So the tool will align those two walls between themselves. Now let's add more elements. In this case, I'm going to add nailers. So again, till it's working, I just want to show that there is possibility to add vertical and horizontal nailers. It depends actually on the sidings which you are going to use. So it could be vertical and horizontal sidings, and it depends on the siding. You can apply vertical or horizontal nailers. Okay, we have them here, and again we can very easily align those stats with the main frame. And as you can see, this frame is added into the layer where it should be. So it's added into the layer which is created for especially for the nailers. Okay, and just now we can say that maybe some additional elements should be added into the project, so we can add additional stats, for example, with some predefined offset. Okay, or we can add additional bracings between the stats. Again, we just need to predefine the offset from the bottom or from the top. Then we can add additional bracings between horizontal elements, like that. At the moment, my bracing is wooden bracing, but also if it's necessary, you can add metal bracings. And just one more example, let's frame some internal wall. Okay, and we're going to add yes, and we're going to add here metal bracing. So in such case, I'm going to modify wall framing. Let's go to the bracings, and here I'm going to say that I would like to use some metal bracing. It could be T or L brace, and I don't want to cut studs or bridgings and noggings. So let's modify this wall frame, and we will be able to insert metal bracings between horizontal plates. Okay, and now we have to go to add bracings on the external or internal sides. And that's it. The tool will add the bracing on the external or internal side according to our predefined rule. So in general, if you work with the wood, still you can insert additional elements which are metal. One more feature, let's say if we have two windows which are close together, we can, and if we would like to have one sill or one header above, we can very easily join those openings together. Okay, and if we will try to frame this wall, the tool will join those headers. So here we are going to have one header and one sill for those two separate window families. Okay, and And that's it. We have separate windows, but still we have one header and one sill. One more feature is let's add sidings. So now I'm going to select two walls and I'm going to add sidings automatically. And I will come back again to my slide. Here I just want to say that we can include vertical and horizontal sidings, but at the same time we can have mixed combination between vertical and horizontal siding. So with Wall Plus we can say that horizontal sidings should be used above and below the window, and all other sidings should be vertical. Okay, or we can have such double siding. So in such case you would need to have two layers in the wall, which will show two siding layers with some offset between them. Okay, and that's it. We have a result. We have those sidings added automatically into the project. Now let's add sheeting. Actually with the Wall Plus you can split the sheeting because, as you remember, we said that if we take a look again into our wall link, we're going to add two sheetings from the both sides of the frame, and for the sheetings we have a separate configuration which allows to predefine the distances between the sheeting panels, then predefine the distances between the layouts, add some offsets from the bottom or from the top, add some connections, predefine connections, add some layer extensions from the end of the sheeting in different corners. So it's very flexible layout of settings, and then again, as always, you can save those configurations under your own name, because usually actually we use parts for showing the sheeting. And if we take a look into such wall, right now there is a sheeting, internal sheeting, but it's one sheeting created without parts, without divisions. Now we can just go to split sheeting parts, select a wall, and the tool will split the sheeting into separate individual segments, and now we will know that it is a sheeting. The same I'm going to do with another wall, just very quickly. Yes, and now all those two walls, they are split into separate segments. And again, let's take a look in the plan view. As you can see, here we have parts with predefined divisions. After that, we can predefine very quickly. We can predefine shop drawings. First, I have to predefine configuration for making shop drawings. So here I have to choose what kind of views I would like to see. So we are going to make assembly. And I do have to predefine what will be the views, what kind of layers I would like to see in every view, what will be the view templates, what will be the title block, what will be my schedules created automatically for each panel, what will be the view templates. You can choose existing schedule from the project and use it as a template for making shop drawings. Then you have to predefine the dimension styles which you're going to apply. And now we can just, after setting those configuration settings, we can make shop drawings. You just need to press on Create Frame Assembly, select a wall, and now the tool will make assembly automatically. So it will collect all frames from the wall. At the same time, the tool will add dimensions on every frame. Then the tool will add tags. Okay, and later we are going to put those views into the sheet automatically. That's it. We are ready to see result. So this is our 3D view. Then we have a front side view. Okay, and then front side view with dimensions only for the frame. And one more thing, what we have to do, we have to remember those frames, because the tool will remember every frame according to its length and the type. Okay, yeah, so we have, so for example, vertical step number 1, and this is also number 1 because they are this mostly they are the same. They are created under the same type and the same length. And also let's remember structural connections, because also it's very important if we would like to remember and have a schedule of separately for the connections. Then we have a separate view only for the sheeting, then a top side view with the view with nailers, then material takeoff, and now we can put those views into the sheet. So here I'm going to place a regular front side view with the main frame, then the view with the sheeting, then the view which is top side view, then maybe a 3D view I'm going to put here. Then let's add material takeoff. Okay, then let's add a part list, and also maybe separately we will add schedule only for the sheeting. So in such case we'll know what is the sheeting mark, what are the sizes of the sheeting, and what is the weight, because also the tool will calculate the total weight for the total frame. And now let's say that this sheet will be used as a template for making all other sheets. Okay, so I'm going to say that this sheet will be used as a template for making all other sheets. And let's create assembly for another wall. So now the tool collects again all frames from the wall panel. At the same time it adds dimensions, it adds tags, and the tool adds the views into the sheet automatically. So we can just open the sheet and we can see the total results. So again, every view which is needed, then material takeoff, then the part list for every element, then the mass, the weight, and a separate schedule for the sheeting if it's necessary. Okay, now I would like to say that also sometimes if you have MEP elements in your project, you need to make openings around, because such openings also should be framed automatically. In such case, I'm going to show you one example with this wall, because this wall is used together with ducts and pipes. So first maybe let's frame such wall, and in such case you will see that the frames are created, but still we need to have the openings created. And if we take a look here, the openings are not created because there are no openings in this project. In such case, we recommend to use our cut opening. There are two actually cut openings. One is free of charge. For example, if you don't have links in your project and it's not very big project, then you can even use the free version. But also if you use links in your project, or if you have really complex and big project, then it's recommended. And also if you would like to have more options with adding openings, then you should use professional version of cut opening. So first thing, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create find collisions between pipes and ducts from this project together with walls and floors. Revit finds those interferences. I have to export them anywhere in my computer. And now I have to read those interferences. So I have to pick HTML file. Then the tool will show you all those collisions. If it's necessary, I can add some cut offsets around those ducts and pipes, and it's very handy because you will see where exactly those ducts and pipes are created. Now I'm going to save this information in a separate XML file. Okay, and we're going to insert those Mep openings. So I'm going to select this XML file. If it's necessary, you can make some changes with cut offsets, or you can change the shape of the openings. And after pressing insert openings, the tool will insert the openings automatically into the project. Okay, there are 9 openings automatically inserted. As you can see here, we have those openings. And now what we have to do, again, we have just to press on update frame and update our current frame, which was created before. So now the tool will take a look into the openings, and the tool will frame those openings together. So around every duct and pipe, you will be able very quickly to have really nice looking framed frames. Okay, so now we're updating the wall frame together with those openings, and yeah, and that's it. If I'm going to hide this wall, we can see that the openings are created, and well, everything is okay. Now, what's more you can do with Wall Plus? I would like to show you one more feature, is a possibility to work with locked houses. Again, you can just predefine the wall layers, and we're going to say that here I'm going to use logs instead of main frames. So you just need to select the wall and just select build log wall. So now the tool will add logs automatically into this wall segment. Then, if we would like to cut them, to cut the logs between themselves, again, it's very easy. You just need to select the logs, or you can select all of them and just press cut log walls. And that's it. Now we have those cuts, and if I will try to isolate this element, we will see that here we have really nice looking cuts. Actually, you can modify and you can use your own profiles. Even you can add some decorations, for example, in the beginning or in the end of the log. So you can just predefine additional offsets and some decorations in the ends if it's necessary. Okay, and then one more project which I'm going to show. I would like just to show how the complex wall could be framed. In this case, this is my really complex wall with a lot of different layers. There are main layers, then there are 2 sheetings from one side, then there are secondary layer, then there are 2 vertical layers, then external decoration layer, and horizontal siding layer. Even such a wall could be framed, and in such project we have split the walls into separate views. So here, as you can see, here we have the main and secondary layers in the wall. Then separately, as you can see here, this is a secondary inner layer, then horizontal siding with finishes. So if you would like to use your own profiling for the finishes and for the waterproofs, you can modify them, and you can use your own families. Then, as you can see, this layer is used for the siding finishes. Then this layer is used only for the siding. Then this goes for the vertical nailers, and then again one more for outer vertical nailers, and one more for inner and external vertical nailers if it goes for the horizontal siding. In such case, we can have such really complex wall with different with really complex L connections. So it can look like this. and even some of parameters you can modify through the properties. If I select, for example, such family, such stats, we can say that this family should be built in place, and in such case this family will be not included into assembly, into making shop drawings, but still it will be included into the schedules. Okay, and now I would like to come back again to my previous project, and one more. The second tool is Floor Plus. It actually works in the same way as the Wall Plus, just it goes for working with and framing floor panels. The scenario and the principle is the same. You just need to have the floors with the layers, with your predefined layers which comes from architect, and now we can just, as you can see, it's very similar to the Wall Plus. You have to predefine configurations for the buttons, for the main frames, for the flooring. Then you have to make a link between the configuration and the framing layer, and then you just need to frame the floor. So now the tool will frame, it will analyze the shape of the floor, and it will frame this floor panel. And here again we have different connections. In such case you can use different hangers or supports for the floors. This is our sample Simpson hanger, but you can use any your own families for such supports. And again, if we have internal wall, we can very easily again frame the floor. Also, what is good feature in Wall Plus and in Floor Plus, that it's combined together. I mean, if you have floors and walls, you can very easily align even elements between themselves. I mean, you can say that you would like to align the wall frames together with the floor frames. So you can choose the floor frame, then the wall frame, and they will be aligned between themselves. Also, what is very important thing in those two products is that the frames which are created with those two products, they are actually structural families with analytical lines. So later, if you would like to make calculation and if you would like to push that into calculation system, you can anytime you can do that. I mean, you can make analysis and push it to any calculation system, as for example Autodesk Robot. Okay, and one more example. I would like to finish it with I would like to finish the floor. So let's add we can add battens, or we can add flooring. In our case, we're going to add flooring. And the same as before, you can make shop drawings. You can prepare shop drawings, and you can very easily do shop drawings in the same way as we did for the walls. And at the end, you will get a model which is fully framed. Okay, so now I would like to switch the screen to Valence's screen, and he's going to continue with the samples for the roof.
Okay, thank you, Renata. I will continue from here. I will talk about our solutions for the roof framing. So we have two solutions, Truss plus RT for wood trusses, and Rafter plus for Rafter systems for the trusses. So I will start from Truss plus RT, and I will show you some possibilities of it. Here you can see the sample project already framed with the trusses. So this is the result we did with our tool, and we seek to do the framing and to finish our projects with our tools as efficient as we can. So this is the palette of our Truss Plus tool, and we have 3 sections here: configurations, truss systems, to quickly create groups of trusses, and these tools to create individual trusses to solve complex situations, and we have shop drawings, of course. So yeah, I will switch now to my sample project, and we will try to see some action. So when you model your walls and roofs, first of all, you have to make configurations and load truss types to your project. So I already loaded these truss types to my project. I have them all in my project already, so I have a lot of types of trusses here prepared for modeling. And then I have to run through other configurations like Truss Database Manager. Here I can create new types of trusses with predefined framing sections to create at once all these types of trusses with predefined framing sections. And then I have to see this configuration of truss system configurations. So this is configurations for the groups of trusses. You can see different types of system grids. So this solves a lot of situations. And then we have truss design settings. Here we can make configurations for jack and corner girder trusses, like we configure the webs, how they will be inserted. We configure the connection types, the end types, which will be used in the beginning, and we define the truss type, which we use for special truss types. So, okay. So after you do all the configurations, you can start creating trusses with truss systems, like quickly insert groups of trusses and individual trusses. So now I will start from systems, and I will insert truss system grid into my roof. So I will pick the roof where I want to insert my system grid, and I will select the boundaries of my system grid by picking the edges of the roof. So after that, I see the configuration window where I can select what kind of truss system I will use now for my roof. So I will choose this one, and I will click OK. And we will see the grid. So we can overview. We can see the lines where the trusses will be inserted. So it's only the grid. So if we are satisfied with it, we will we will generate trusses upon them. So yeah, you can see that we can use system grid here. We can use it on the other edge of the roof. I will pick the edges again. Okay, so now our tool suggests us to use this type of system grid, so we'll use this one. I will click OK. On this end, I can use again truss system grid. Okay, I will choose the roof, and again the boundaries, and yep. Okay, so there are a lot of situations where we can use system grids. Okay, so now I will use this translated system grid, and we will see that we will have here trusses and rafters and so on. So yeah, we can insert system grids, and if we are satisfied with the grids, we will generate trusses. So I will now go to generate trusses command, and now I have the dialog window where I have to choose what type of trusses I will use for trusses. Like for common trusses I will use whole type of truss. For hip barn end trusses I will use again whole type truss, and so on. So I have to choose what kind of trusses I will use. It will be attic, or it will be Fink, or scissor, or whatever trusses. So I will click OK now, and we will see that now tool will create trusses in the place of a grid. It will align our trusses according to the roof. It will cut elements to each other, so we don't need to do it manually, and we don't need to create each and every truss manually, like these trusses are different shapes and so on, so it does it automatically. And by using truss system grids we can solve a lot of our roof framing tasks. So yeah, I will create one truss system. I will generate these trusses, and I will skip these two truss systems, but it's the same principle. Like we generate the truss system grid, then we'll generate trusses, and we can copy them again, insert trusses between them individually, and so on. So I will better move on to the next section, to the individual trusses, and we will see just possibilities of this tool, so you may better understand the efficiency and the need of this tool. Okay, so we are almost at the end. Okay, it takes a while, but it's like I don't know how many times quicker than to do it manually, and that's okay. So let's see, how does it look? Yeah, you can see now we have trusses, we have jack trusses and fab elements cut it according to each other. So yeah, it's quick and it's precise, and it's what we need. So yeah, by using these commands you can reach something like that, like I showed before. And now I will switch to other project where you can see other possibilities of this tool. So you can see a lot of types of trusses we have prepared here with different configurations, web orientations, and so on. And this is the other way how to create trusses, different type of trusses. So I will switch now to the sample project where I can demonstrate this. So if you want to insert, like here, some kind of a truss, you can draw the model line at the top of the wall. Like I will go to level 2, I will choose command, structure, and the model line, and I will draw it from the wall to the wall. And okay, I'll go back to 3D view. I will select this model line, and I will choose command insert truss by selected model line. So now I have possibility to select the truss I want to insert here. So for this situation I will choose some common type of truss, like I can choose attic room or raised vault or whatever type of truss I need, and I will just click OK, and I will pick the roof, and it will adapt according to the roof. And all of these trusses, they have like properties where we can modify some dimensions like the openings, the height of the attic room, and so on. So yeah, and you can insert like this a lot of types of trusses, like for the double pitch or like with the 4-pitch roofs. So using the same command, like selecting model line and inserting truss and selecting the appropriate type of a truss, and just click OK, and it will adapt according to the shape of the roof. So this solves the situations where you need to insert individual trusses and where the system grid does not cover the possibilities. So you can use these options. And for very complex situations, like special situations, like here you can see the different shape of roof, or here with this kind of roof, or here when you have some bottom chord, not straight line, but a bit different. So you can use another tool. I will show you how to use it. First of all, I will draw the model line. I will go again to level 2. I will go here. I will draw the model line, and this is the help model line, and I will use the command to create section from this model line. And now in section view, I will draw the model line. Model line defines the bottom chord of the truss we are willing to create. So let's say this will be the bottom chord of my truss, and the top chord of my truss will be the shape of the roof. So now when I have the model line, I will select it, and I'll select the create truss type, not insert truss type, but create truss type. And I will select the roof, and now I have this truss builder here, where you can see the model line. This is the bottom chord and the top chord according to the roof. And I will add webs here to my truss. Let's say it will be like this. Okay, and let's click OK, and let's give it a name. Okay, and click OK. And you don't need to go to Revit Truss Family Editor and try to create the truss you need. You can just use the shape of model line and the roof and quickly create the truss type you need. So we have some informational notes here, but okay, and you can see now that we have the truss with all the elements cut according to each other, and we have this new truss type over here with all the parameters and so on. So it's the quick method to create the unique shape of your truss. Yeah, and the last option is like we can go back to the first project and see that we have these options for shop drawings. So we have again options to sort trusses, to sort elements, and create shop drawings according to the shop drawing configurations. And the principle is the same as Renata showed in the wall presentation, and we can get automatic drawings of trusses with the schedules prepared and just in a few clicks. So I hope you get the idea and the possibilities. Yeah, and if you will work, you will get more results and possibilities of this software. So for the presentation of the trusses, it's over. So I would like to show you the other tool for the roofs. So it will be the Rafter tool. So yep, I would like to see this one. So with the help of our Rafter solution, I will hide this one, and I will take now the Rafter tool. So we have the Rafter Plus to frame a roof with the rafters, to insert collar beams, ridges, girders, and so on. And this is like the result we seek to create with this tool. It will look like this. So I will try to again show you how to do some of these elements modeling. And yeah, for this I will switch to the sample project, to the empty project. Okay, yeah, I have an empty version. So yeah, again, Rafter. First of all, load families. So you will have families for the rafters, hip rafters, collar beams, and so on. And then select the roof and create common rafter systems. Now you have configurations like how you want to be the end type of rafters, what will be the size of your rafters, what will be the spacing. Like if I will do it like this, fix spacing, and we'll place it on the top, and we'll click OK. So now we have rafters inserted in our roof. We have here beam systems with a predefined step and the endings of rafters. So we insert rafters, then we go to the next command, like insert hip and valley rafters. So for this I will select all the beam systems around, and I will choose this command, insert hip and valley rafters, where I again select the end type, the beam type, and I click OK. And for the valley rafter, the same. OK, and it will insert rafters in the intersection of different beam systems, like on each and every slope. So we have, we will see the results soon. Yeah, now you can see that we have valley rafters between these two beam systems. Here we have a hip rafter between these systems, and so on. Now I would like to insert ridge beam, so I will select two beam systems, and okay, I will go to my yeah, something was missing. Okay, I'll switch it back. Yeah, now I will select beam system on this side and the beam system on this side, and I will insert ridge beam. So again, I have configuration window where I can choose the options how it will be inserted. So I pick one of them, I select the beam type, I select the extensions and so on for this configuration. I click on OK, and I will have the ridge beam between these two beam systems. Or I can insert between two rafters, it depends on what I select. So I have a ridge beam now. I would like to insert now, I will select one rafter and another rafter, and I will insert collar beam system. I will define again the distances, the type of collar beam, and the connection type. Let's say I'll just add some number here and I will click OK, and you can see now I have here a beam system, and if I will update this beam system, I can just insert more color beam systems and so on. So I can modify at any time all of them. So later on I will try to insert girder beam. So for this I will select these two rafters where I want to see my girder beam, and I will click on insert girder beam. Now again, configuration window with the placement options, and if I want to use the Bismuth cut, I will define the cut height, I define the section of girder beam, the distance. For the distance I will choose to pick wall, and I will select this wall, and you see that level is automatically recalculated according to the wall, and I will click OK. So it will place my girder beam on top of the wall with distance of a Bismuth cut. So I can insert like this, so I can again I will go and insert another girder beam. So I will choose to insert girder beam, and now I will pick source girder and I will select this one. So it will insert the girder at the same height as this one, as the previous, as the source girder, and I will click OK. Okay, so I have two girders now, and I can go around and reach the result I want. Okay. Yeah, now I would like to insert batten beams. So for this I will modify my roof. I will insert additional layer on the top for the batten beams. Let's say it will be like okay, I will do it like this. I will insert additional layer of 50 millimeters, and I will click OK and OK. And now I will choose option to create batten beam systems. And again, the beam type, the spacing between them, where to place, how to place, it should be according to the slope of the roof, or it should be horizontal, perpendicular to the rafters, and I will click OK. So I will have batten beams placed on my rafters. So it will be beam system on every slope of the roof. It will be placed automatically, so I don't need to do anything manually. Okay, so we have batten beams on the top of my rafters with a predefined distance, and yeah, now I can update my roof according to the openings. Like if I will select the beam system of this rafter, I will click to update beam system and check openings. Again, I can change configurations in the update mode, and now you will see that rafters will be cut according to the opening. They will be cut according to the ridge beam, and you can see now that this rafter of this beam system was cut according to the ridge beam. It was cut according to the hip rafter, and you can do this with all the beam system at once or one by one. I will click with this one, so you can see that I have girder beam here, so I want to show you that that we have like now rafter is cut according to the girder beam. You can see this, okay, and yeah, they are cut according to the hip rafters and so on. So elements are updated, and okay, I would like to update Batten beams also. Okay, and we'll click OK. So now I have opening in both systems. I will select and insert. I will frame openings. Okay, so I will have some framing elements inserted here. You can see the opening is framed. I can frame 2 rafters with additional elements. Yeah, I select the type for it. I will click OK. So I have these additional elements between these rafters, and we have also options to sort beams to create the marks for every element and prepare drawings with different marks according to the element sizes and so on. So that's pretty it with the Rafters and truss solution for the roof. And yeah, I hope you like it and try to use it.
And thank you, Valences. I just wanted to say once again that every frame could be exported to CNC machine because we did some special features for the clients which are needed, which have CNC machines, and we can very easily make an export to CNC machine. Okay, yeah, like with the Truss Plus.
Yeah.
Okay, now we are going to switch the screen to Maria's screen.
Hallå, hej på er allihopa, hej igen. Jag vill tacka så hemskt mycket för att ni har varit med på den här webbinariet. Och vill ni veta mer så är ni väldigt välkomna att höra av er till sales@aec.se eller telefonnummer. Det allra enklaste är kanske bara gå in på AEC och hitta en kontakt och fråga och mejla eller ringa. Vi kommer spela in, eller vi har spelat in hela det här webbinariet, och det kommer skickas till alla som har varit deltagna, och det kommer komma på mejlen. Ni kan själva testa de här produkterna i 14 dagar, och då går ni in på www.aga-cad.com och så kan ni scrolla er bort till Tools for BIM Doc och ladda ner. Jag tackar så mycket för oss och hoppas att ni har haft bra den här timmen. Så hörs vi igen. Tack så länge. Hej!